What's up, y'all? Today we're going to talk about the most expensive Facebook ads mistakes that are currently bleeding your ad accounts dry. After spending over $330 million on Facebook ads and driving over $1.7 billion in Meta ads attributable revenue, I've identified 7 critical errors that are silently destroying your campaigns and costing you thousands every single day. Most people think Facebook ad success comes down to some magical hack or some secret targeting auction. They believe if they keep testing different interests or different creative variations, eventually they'll crack the code. But here's the brutal truth. The biggest Facebook ads mistakes have nothing to do with these tactical details. After analyzing hundreds of ad accounts across every single niche, I discovered that the same fundamental errors occur over and over again regardless of the industry. And these aren't small issues. These are catastrophic mistakes that make scaling impossible. By the way, I'm Littlejohn, and I've spent over $330 million on Facebook ads and driven over $1.7 billion in Meta ads attributable revenue. And I've scaled dozens of brands from 6 figures to 8 figures in monthly revenue. And one streetwear brand I took from $200K a month to over $1 million a month in under 2 months. This isn't theory. This isn't what I think might work. This is what actually works. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 7 Facebook ads mistakes I see brands making every single day. For each mistake, I'm going to show you exactly what it is and why it's costing you thousands, and the precise solution I've used to fix it for multiple 8-figure brands. By the end, you'll know exactly how to transform your Facebook ad account from a money pit to a money printer. The first brittle mistake is what I call campaign structure chaos. This happens in 2 ways. Either you're running dozens of fragmented campaigns with no strategic organization, or you've consolidated everything into 1 or 2 campaigns because some guru told you to just simplify everything. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. One skincare brand came to me running 37 different campaigns. They had a campaign for every audience type, every product, every collection. They had a million different campaigns doing a million different things. Complete and utter chaos. Another brand had the opposite problem. They had one campaign with everything dumped into it because they thought consolidation was the way to go. Let me tell you, both approaches are garbage. This mistake is costing you thousands. You either have no control over budget allocation or you have no data to make decisions. It's like trying to drive with either 100 steering wheels or no steering wheel at all. What actually works is what I call sophisticated consolidation. You need to structure your campaigns to either mirror your website or mirror your customer profiles. For example, with one streetwear brand, we built campaigns for tops, bottoms, accessories, and new arrivals. This gave us the control to push budget to high-performing categories, while still giving Meta's algorithm room to work. I like to diversify my campaigns like I would an investment portfolio. If 2 campaigns underperform, you still have 6 to 8 other campaigns that are producing results. Now, fixing your campaign structure is critical, but if you don't couple it with the right creative strategy, you'll still be leaving thousands on the table. That brings me to the second critical mistake. The second critical mistake is creative monotony, running only one type of creative format. Maybe you're only using video ads because someone told you that videos always outperform statics, or maybe you're only using static image ads because static image ads are easier to produce than videos. Here's a real example. One jewelry brand that I took on was exclusively running polished video ads. Beautiful cinematography, perfect lighting, professional models, but the return on ad spend was stuck at 1.8 and they cannot figure out how to get it higher. I analyzed their ad account and I immediately spotted the problem. Because they were only running video ads, they were missing an entire segment of their audience who wasn't engaging with video content. This mistake is literally costing brands thousands of dollars to even $1 million a month by not investing both in video ads, static ads, and all the other ad types there are. Different people respond to different creative types. If you're only running video ads, then you're only reaching video people. It's like you're fishing with only one type of bait when there's dozens of other fish species in the same lake. You need creative diversification across all formats. For every brand that I've scaled past $1 million in monthly revenue, we're running all of these at a minimum. In real life statics showing the product in use, side-by-side statics with product shots next to on-body images, POV product breakdown videos, founder story ads, and dynamic product ads. For that jewelry brand, we simply added user-generated content showing people actually wearing the jewelry, value proposition statics highlighting key benefits, and before and after comparison images. Within 2 weeks, the ROAS jumped from 1.8 to over 3.2. Creative diversification is powerful, but it's only half the battle. If you're targeting the wrong audiences, even the best creative will fall flat. That's where the third critical mistake comes in. Mistake number 3 is what I call audience tunnel vision. This happens when you've heard some guru say broad only works, or lookalikes only work, or interests only work, and you've gone all in on one audience type and are ignoring all the others. I recently audited an ad account for a natural health brand. They were exclusively using broad targeting because that's what everyone in the industry was telling them to do. Their CPA was too high and they were barely profitable. When we dug into their historical data, we found out that they had previous success with interest targeting, but they abandoned it just because it wasn't a best practice anymore. This tunnel vision is costing you access to entire segments of customers. It's like a restaurant deciding to only let people into their restaurant who come from one side of the street. You're artificially limiting your customer base based on dogma, not data. The truth is everything works. Broad audiences, interest audiences, lookalike audiences. But what works best is based on your brand, your product, and what stage of growth you're in. For new brands with limited data, interest audiences are actually great at training the algorithm on who your ideal customer profile is. For more established brands with strong customer data within the ad account, going broad is typically the best route to take. For high ticket products, lookalikes and interest audiences actually typically outperform broad audiences. With that natural health brand, we reintroduced interest audiences, targeting people interested in specific health niche categories, holistic health, organic foods, regenerative farming, and their CPA dropped instantly simply by expanding beyond broad targeting. Getting your audience strategy right is critical. But even with the perfect targeting, you're gonna hit a ceiling if you don't know how to scale properly. That brings us to mistake number 4, which could potentially be costing you millions of dollars in revenue. Scaling paralysis. You've got campaigns performing well, but you're terrified to scale them because you've heard horror stories about the learning phase, or you're following the 20% rule that everyone preaches. Let me share a perfect example. A beauty brand came to me spending about 5K a day at a 2.7 ROAS. They had campaigns that were performing exceptionally well, but were only increasing budgets by 20% weekly because that's what they had been taught. At that rate, it would take them months to meaningfully scale. This fear is keeping you small. Period. This mistake is costing you exponential growth. If you're too cautious with scaling, you're leaving thousands and potentially millions of dollars on the table. It's like finding a gold mine, but deciding to extract the gold with a teaspoon. Forget the 20% rule. When you have a winning campaign, it's time to drive a Ferrari, not a Prius. Use my double up method. Double the budget, wait 3 to 4 days to assess performance, and if it's doing well, double it again. With that beauty brand, we identified the top performing campaign. It was running at a 3.5 ROAS. And instead of taking the conservative approach and only upping it by $200, we bumped it from $1,000 a day to $2,000 a day using my double up method. We waited 4 days. It was still crushing. So then we doubled it again from 2K to 4K a day. And we were able to maintain that scaled spend at a 3 ROAS or better. If performance drops after scaling, simply move the budget back to where it was before and let things settle in again, get things efficient, and then try to double up again. This isn't rocket science. It's about being aggressive AF when you have a winner. Proper scaling is how you turn good campaigns into a great business. But there's a flip side to this coin. While some advertisers are too cautious about scaling, other advertisers tinker too much with their ad accounts. That's mistake number 5, and it's a silent killer. Optimization addiction. This is when you're making daily changes to your campaign, tweaking bids, adjusting budgets, pausing and unpausing ads and ad sets all the time, because either you're addicted to making changes or you think multiple changes a day are actually going to improve your performance. I recently took over an ad account for a home goods brand where the previous agency was making multiple optimizations every single day. They were constantly pausing underperforming ads or ad sets after only 1 to 2 days of data, adjusting budgets daily, and swapping out ad creatives after they hadn't even had enough time to make informed decisions on them. This constant tinkering is actually killing your campaigns. It's like planting a seed but then digging it up every couple of hours to check on it, then wondering why it never grows. Stop the daily optimization madness. That is, algorithm needs time to work. I like to make changes on Mondays after the weekend's performance is over, and then also Thursday nights and Friday mornings to get the ad account ready for the weekend. These are the optimal days based on the $330 million I've spent across all the ad accounts I've ever seen. Implement a proper testing framework. Spend 2 to 3x your CPA goal before deciding if an ad is a winner or a loser. Or a $50 CPA target, that means spending at least $100 to $150. And some people, you can even go 4 to 5x your CPA goal if you really want to give it time. With that home goods brand, we implemented a strict 2-day-a-week optimization schedule and a minimum data threshold before making decisions. Within 2 weeks, their CPA dropped by over 20% simply because we gave the algorithm room to breathe. Fixing your optimization schedule will immediately improve performance. But there's a bigger strategic mistake that's probably costing you even more. It's about how you're approaching your customer journey, which brings us to mistake number 6, neglecting the full funnel. This happens when you're overly focused on bottom of the funnel campaigns or ads, while ignoring users who are still in the awareness or consideration phase. You're only obsessed with immediate ROAS and immediate conversions. A perfect example of this was a women's brand that came to me spending $20,000 a day, and all their ads had super high cost per clicks, had good CPAs and had good ROAS, but there was no top of funnel traffic being driven down. They were struggling with rising CPAs overall, and they couldn't figure out why they were hitting this wall. When we analyzed their account, we realized their creative was really only trying to get people to buy right away. It wasn't introducing their brand, explaining their products deeply, and none of the ads were focused on people in the awareness or the consideration period. This mistake is driving up your acquisition costs dramatically. Without warming up your traffic, you're paying premium prices for every conversion. It's like trying to close a sale without even introducing yourself first. It can work in the beginning when you're a new brand and there's low-hanging fruit, but over time it becomes super inefficient and expensive. Build a complete marketing funnel within Meta. Have ads that target the awareness and the consideration period users. Also have ads that touch on interest and bottom of the funnel objection users, people that are ready to buy but they just need their last objections called out. We implemented this full funnel strategy for the women's brand I was talking about, and we dropped their CPA by 41% in only 2 months. We also implemented proper retargeting, which they didn't have in place, targeting their email list, their customer list, their ad cards, their initiate checkouts, their Instagram and Facebook engagers, and also video viewers. This isn't just a nice to have. This is essential if you want to be insanely profitable and scale. Building a full funnel strategy within Meta is powerful, but if you're not connecting it to your other marketing channels, you're still leaving money on the table. That brings us to our final 7th critical mistake: treating Facebook ads as a singular channel rather than integrating it with your SMS and your email marketing. You're spending thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars sending traffic to your site. If you don't have a proper system to capture these users and monetize them on the back end, what are you even doing? One pet brand was spending $30K monthly at a 1 ROAS, barely breaking even. Their site had decent traffic, but they did not have an Alia pop-up and their sign-up rate was terrible. They didn't even have an abandoned cart flow setup. In order for your Facebook ads to be as profitable as possible, you have to have a high sign-up rate pop-up, and you have to be monetizing your Facebook sign-ups on the back end with your automated email flows within Klaviyo. You need to have the welcome series, you need to have the browse abandoned series, you need to have the abandoned checkout series, you need to have the site abandonment series, you need to have the replenishment flow series, you need to have the cross-sell flow series, you need to have the customer win-back series. You need to have as many automated flows as possible. And you also at least need to send 1 campaign email a week and 1 SMS campaign a week as well. And you have to optimize your pop-up. Sign up for Alia, tell them Mason sent you, and you'll be getting 15% or more sign-up rates. With that pet brand, we implemented this integrated Facebook strategy with email and SMS, and within 30 days, their customer acquisition costs dropped by 50% because we were monetizing the traffic that was signing up for their email list, the ones that just weren't ready to buy right away from the ads. So there you have it, the 7 critical Facebook ads mistakes that are costing you thousands to even millions of dollars a year. Campaign structure chaos, creative monotony, audience tunnel vision, scaling paralysis, optimization addiction, neglecting the full funnel, and ignoring email and SMS integration. These aren't theoretical problems. These are the exact issues I've fixed for brands, take them from struggling to scaling to millions of dollars a month. Each of these mistakes might seem small in isolation, but together they're the difference between campaigns bleeding money and campaigns printing money. At this point, you have 3 options. Option 1, keep doing what you're doing, keep making the same mistakes, and keep getting mediocre results. Option 2, try to avoid all these mistakes I just mentioned yourself on your own. It'll take time, there will be trial and error, but now you know what to focus on. But then there's option number 3. That's working with myself and my team at Meta Ads at Scale, the first coaching program that helps e-commerce brands at any stage of growth scale profitably with Meta Ads. And we'll help you implement these exact strategies for your brand. And we guarantee we'll at least double your monthly revenue in the 6 months you work with us, or we'll work with you for free until we get you there. The choice is yours, but remember, every single day you continue to make these mistakes, it's costing you thousands of dollars in wasted ad spend and missed revenue opportunities. The brands that fix these issues the fastest are going to be the brands that dominate their categories for decades. If you found this video valuable, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me some comments as well. I will respond to your comments if you have any questions. I'm Littlejohn, and I will see you in the next video.